Alright boys, now it's that time of year where everyone is looking for a new save. Teams have been relegated, teams have been promoted, everybody's looking for a new save idea. So today I've got you 5 teams that need saving in FM21. Let's go. Alright boys, welcome back to the channel. Before we get into today's video, what I'd like you to do is smash a like on today's video for me. Now, there is 5 teams that we're going to mention. If I've missed anyone, I'm going to give honourable mentions at the end of the video. But if there's anyone else that you think's a great save idea, club that needs saving, let me know down in the comments. Be muchly appreciated. And yeah, let's get into the 5 clubs. We're going across England, Scotland, Spain, Germany and America. Alright guys, let's get into today's video. And the first club, we're starting in England, it is Crystal Palace. Now the main reason why I've chose this, honourable mentions, Sheffield Wednesday in England, Dover will be a good save, rebuilding Spurs, rebuilding Arsenal, but I think as a rebuild, it doesn't get much better than this. So obviously, if you weren't aware, the contract expiries in Crystal Palace's squad this season, the end of season 1 is incredible. So you've got Michy Batshuayi and Matata on loan, 2 players that you'll probably use in the first season. And then we've got Van Arnold, Hennessy, Henderson, Gary Cahill, Scott Dan, Christian Benteke, Joe Ward, Andros Townsend, Martin Kelly, Nathaniel Klein, Connor Wickham, Tyreek Mitchell, who you'll probably want to keep, Mohamed Sakho, Jacques, and that's it. And then in the under-23s, there's another 13, 14 players, all not very good. So it's a complete real rebuild job. Obviously, Crystal Palace, no manager at the moment. They've released a whole host. I think in real life, they've offered a contract to Christian Benteke, and that's it. So a real rebuild for you to do. You've also got the opportunity, if you want, to sell Wilfried Zaha. Remember, there's a release clause. I think Man United get, I'm pretty sure Man United get like 25% of it, 25%. So you need to bear that in mind. You're not going to get a great deal for him. So I just think it's an incredible opportunity to rebuild an average squad, a team that is just chugging along at the moment. You'll obviously get the riches of the Premier League, so maybe don't offer anyone a new contract. Maybe sell a few in the opening transfer window potentially. Let them go on a free, and then in the start of the second season, you've got an absolute massive rebuild. You'll be able to bring players in on loan because FM's quite easy for that. There'll be free transfers available as well. And yeah, you know, I would keep players like Tyreek Mitchell. Decent play, obviously come through. Yeah, you'll be classed as a youth team player for you as well, so that's always handy. A lot of these are old as well. Joe Ward, Andros Townsend, Martin Kelly, Nathaniel Klein, Sakho will all be. Van Arnold will be 30, 33, 32, 34, 33, 30 in Benteke's case, over 30 and a plus at the end of the season. So yeah, a massive rebuild. And then you've got players down here as well. James McCarthy's already transfer listed in the game. You've got players like Kouate, 30 years old. But then you've also got players like Eze, if you can get Eze and Zaha playing well. You've also got Matata, who I think is a really good player. I think to start in season 1, having a front 3 of those 3, you won't do far wrong, I don't think. So there is the first team, Crystal Palace. I think the ultimate rebuild. You get the riches of the Premier League as well if you stay in the division. So yeah, a really fun, exciting save. Now moving on to team number 2. Teams 2 and 3 and 4 have all been relegated. At the moment, I've not been able to find a decent database which has updated promotions and relegations. However, if you're half decent in the editor, you could soon sort this out. Or you can just start again. I'm just using the latest update, the official update patch. Opportunity for you to stop teams getting relegated. So for team number 2, we're heading to Scotland. And the second team is Kilmarnock. Relegated from the Scottish Prem. I believe they've been in the Prem. They haven't been out of it since 1992-93. So come on, Matty Maths. What, 28 years? 28 years in the Premier League, so a bit of a shock, I imagine. They've had a bit of a downturn now. They did have a bit of an upturn, I think. They finished 3rd in 2018-19. I'm going to say that was when Steve Clarke, the current Scotland manager, was in charge. And then they finished 8th last season. And then obviously this season they've been relegated. So yeah, I think as in rebuild-wise, the squad is quite small. You've still got, wow, you've got a massive amount of players as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, about 19 or 20 players all getting released at the end of the season, or loans have finished. So massive rebuild that needs to take shape at the end of season 1. As I said, you could dive in the editor. Something may pop up on FM Scout as well in terms of promotions and relegations. It is quite easy to go into the editor and swap teams around. So if you're half decent at that, you could just do it for the Scottish leagues or whatever league you're going in and change teams around. I think you've got enough to get you through to the end of the season. And once again, an absolutely huge rebuild. Can you stop Kilmarnock getting relegated for the first time in 28 seasons? They've not won a trophy. Let's see when the last time they won a trophy. 3 Scottish Cups, the last one in 1997, Scottish Premier League in 1965, the Betfred Cup in 2012, so I think it's like the League Cup, but yeah, a little bit of work to be done to not only to stay in the division, but then to kick on. Finance is okay. There's never a lot of money kicking around in Scotland. Let's just see what they give you at the start of the game. They give you a transfer budget of 91,000. So you're really going to rely on free transfers and loans, especially when the majority of your players leave. But if you love a rebuild, once again, Kilmarnock is a fantastic choice. Right, so the third club is Recreativo. Now, the oldest Spanish football club in the country, number 1. Number 2, they were in the Liga as late as 2009, so they've had a little bit of top flight success. Number 3, and probably the most fascinating story, is that they've actually been relegated this season from Segunda B, which is currently the 3rd tier. However, due to changes in the league for 21-22, because of their relegation and their difficulties and relegation from the relegation playoffs, they're now getting relegated 2 divisions into tier 5, and obviously for FM22 are going to be out the game. So a club that needs saving right now. Okay, so the league is fascinating. Basically, in the 3rd tier, you start with 5 groups, numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with Recreativo being in group 4. There's also, for every group number, there's a group A and group B, and as the first phase finishes, you then join teams from Group B depending on where you finished in the league. So Recreativo want you to at least get into the promotion playoffs, and your immediate prediction is to win this league. Now, how it works is basically you carry your points over from stage 1, so that's important. You then go into a group with the other 2 teams from your group and the other winners from the 1 to 3 in the Group B part of the draw. Stay with me. Play each other home and away. The team that wins the league then gets promoted to the 2nd tier. All right? Teams down from 2nd, 3rd, and the other losers from sort of like the promotion playoffs from the other groups then go into, they still get promoted, but they're getting promoted to the Primera League, which is a new league that's getting installed, but essentially it's still the 3rd tier. All right? Teams in 4th, 5th, and 6th will then play each other again, with the top 2 from the 6. I think it's called playoffs. What do they call it in here? Yeah, they call it the playoffs. So the top 2 teams get promoted out of the Segunda into the Primera. But in terms of tier-wise, you then get into tier 3. The other teams, the other losers, so the teams that finish 4th, 5th and 6th in the playoff section of the draw, then essentially get relegated down into the 4th tier. You stay in what's called the Segunda División B de España, but it's essentially the 4th tier. Teams that then are 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th go into a playoffs, once again play each other home and away, points carried over, etc. So there'll be 8 teams in that relegation, what's it called? I imagine it's the relegation playoffs. Yeah, the relegation playoffs. Only the top 3 get a place in the Segunda Division, which is then the 4th tier. The other teams drop as far as the Tarraca, which is going to be our Tarraca, which is going to be the 5th tier. So Recreativo unfortunately finished in the bottom 4 in the opening stage. They then finished, let me have a quick look. There you go. I'll put the league table now to show you. They finished 6th place in the relegation playoffs, so they've been relegated to the 5th tier. All right, so a massive job, which with I imagine there'll be money problems, which there is so much in the Spanish leagues at the moment. Let's have a little look at the finances. 45k, not bad. You got 500,000 in there. You're operating over, but 500,000 as a start isn't it says finances secure. Is there some loans? Yeah, there's some loans. Yeah, you're paying £190,000 a month in loans in the third tier. You need to make sure you get out of the second. You need to get out of this tier as quickly as possible. A very exciting league. As I said, Deportivo are in there. Deportivo have managed to retain their place, I think. They're going to start in the third tier once again. They didn't even reach the top three positions in their opening stage in their division. So yeah, there's a few ex-La Liga clubs down there, but Recreativo just been relegated from this division to start with. I'm going to be out of FM22, and the oldest club in Spain, I think, is a fantastic series save for you boys to take on for the rest of FM21. Okay, so that was Recreativo. Now the third club, we're moving to Germany, a bit more of a standard one. Yes, we could have gone Schalke. There's other teams as well struggling at the moment. Kaiserslautern are struggling. There's also teams that have been promoted to the Bundesliga for the first time, which is going to be fascinating stage for FM22. But for this one, I've chosen Werder Bremen. Now, in real life, they've been relegated from the Bundesliga, I think, for the first time in the club's history. And I just think it's a complete rebuild job. The youth system is great. Youth facilities are excellent. Secure finances now, as I said. I think we're just waiting for a few more divisions. I think the Spanish league is still finishing off. I think soon as everything's done, in the case of a few more weeks, I think there'll be a database hitting off at FM Scout's website that'll have everything updated. So you've got two choices. You could either start with Werder Bremen once again in Bundesliga 2 if you want to swap around promotions and do it yourself. Promotions, relegations, or can you save them from relegation this season? Now, the board want you to avoid relegation, so not the biggest in terms of challenges. Yes, I think the squad isn't the great. You've got not that many players out of contract in the summer, so it's not going to be in terms of a massive rebuild job like the Palace job, like the Kilmarnock job that we spoke about, where there's going to be a huge overturn in players. Who are your star players? Value-wise, you've not got a lot to play with. Rashi, he's a adequate, not very good mentals. You've also got Eggestein, who was a wonder kid back in the day. He's very good. I think you've got enough, especially to stay in the league. Finances, 11 million in the bank, only 1.5 million to spend. That's not great, is it? Debt, 600 quid. Ooh, okay. There's a lot of work to be done here. I didn't think they'd racked up some debt, but they have. Finances say secure, but I think if you're in the Bundesliga 2 with this team, with £600,000 of debt and going to be payable for the next 9 years, you've got six and 9 years, sorry. You've got a little bit of work to do. I don't think it's the great. I imagine there may be. Is there a really good youth prospect? Plogman. Yeah, he's a nice goalkeeper, but not amazing. I imagine there may be a couple of other players in and around the youth team squad. We've got this one, Johan Mina. Yeah, he's all right. He's all right. So there's a little bit of work to do. It's actually harder than what I thought it was going to be. You've got some older players in as well. You've got some quality older players. Top Racks for one. Yuri Osako. Decent players, as I said, enough to keep you in the division. And I think it would be a slow rebuild. A lot of money in Germany as well. I think if you can get up into the sort of like the Champions League spots, prize money as well. Prize money is always pretty decent. Let's have a look at the rules. Prize money, if you can finish in the top 4 Champions League, 75 million. If you can get top 7, top 8, you're looking at 53 million pounds. So a decent amount of money to work with. The loan, with the debt, you're looking at 6 million a season. So I think as long as you stay in the Bundesliga, I think that's manageable. Not real necessity to really sell players or sell quality players. And a really big long-term, I think, rebuilding job is needed at Werder Bremen. All right, so that was team number 4. We're going to move to America, to what I consider the worst team in MLS. It's FC Dallas. Now, I've chosen FC Dallas because they've been in the MLS since it started in 1996, and they've never won the MLS playoffs. They've won the Supporters' Shield, which is obviously the winning the sort of like the division combined in 2016. But in terms of winning anything, they've not won it. So I just thought it was a fascinating. If you just want a little bit of a left field challenge, I've dived into MLS a little bit a few years ago and really struggled with it. But if you have a concept, an idea of how it all works in terms of the drafts and contracts and things like that, FC Dallas would be my recommendation. Superb youth facilities, decent training facilities. So you've got a long-term project there of maybe getting some build a nation, getting the American national team up with quality youngsters. I don't think there's a lot in terms of quality in the squad. There's not many players I recognise. You lads may have a better idea than me, but there's no real standout players. Who's the biggest earner? Designated player Franco Jara, 32-year-old. Yeah, he's not amazing. Striker coming to the end of his time. Maybe be able to build up the reputation and get a former Premier League player through. Maybe a 36-year-old Messi or a Ronaldo or something. So yeah, there we go. Yeah, so there we go. FC Dallas, last choice. Can you bring home some MLS glory for them for the first time in the club's history? Teams that need saving in there. Kaiserslautern are struggling. Hamburg are struggling. I think 1860 Munich have done well and got themselves into second tier again. So, you know, you move to Italy. You've got Parma that have been relegated. Along with Parma, you've got Pescara who have been relegated. They've had some very... Immobile's come through the youth system. Verratti's come through the youth system in recent years and now find themselves in the third tier. Also have them wonderful Dolphin kits and badge. Interesting save for you there. And then you've got teams like the exciting team of Monza with Berlusconi in charge. You've also got in Serie B, in Serie A, you've got Fiorentina struggling at the moment. And then big famous clubs like Genoa, Calgary all need bits of rebuild. So yeah, any other clubs that I've missed, let me know down in the comments. I haven't ventured through loads of different leagues. They're just the 5 that have come to me. Any that I've missed, put it down in the comments. Let me know if you're going to pick one of those 5 teams. I would... Recreativo is the ultimate challenge. And then Crystal Palace is a really fun rebuild. Would really get you involved in FM21 as we go through the summer and the remaining few months up until FM22, which is, 5 months away? All right, guys, take care. Thanks for watching. See you later.